or the black light. The message is the naked truth. See, you can corrupt anything or anybody once you know that they what their weaknesses is, what they are partial to, and we have been fed, hand fed, spoon fed on corruption. Now we aspire to be like the conquerors, and we don't know no better because we think that to be righteous is to be like the conquerors, because he had programmed us to be worshiping him like a god through these books. We don't know that he worshiped us, or either he stole all our wisdom and knowledge and transformed it into corruption, so that we think that everything good is bad and everything bad is good. For example, now I'm gonna ask some of our black women this question. I don't know. I'm not going to get your response unless you email me or whatever. But if you see a woman covered up from head to toe, you can't even see her face, and you see a woman that you could see the form of her breast, the forms of her buttocks. Hey, you could even see outlines of her vagina. Most women want to be aspire to be like not the covered up woman, but the uncovered woman. If you see a woman that's modest dress, you know, she dressed kind of loose. You don't see nothing so tight fitting on her. She don't wear makeup. She just wear her hair plain, like a afro or natural, whatever. Most women wouldn't want to be like her. They would probably talk about her. But you see a woman with painted faces, and maybe she's not exposing all of her parts, but most of her parts, you would probably be like her. You know, most black women want to be like her. Now, when you go to church, a lot of black women go to church. And in the Bible, it tells women how to dress. So now when you look at a Catholic nun, she's covered up. She gets the most respect. Only thing weird about Catholic is that the nuns can't, you know, They can't marry or mingle or, have sex. The priests can't mingle, with the women. So they end up mingling with each other. But that's corrupt. So we look the other way. So women nowadays, they want to dress nudie as they can. And then, but when a man, sees a woman that's covered, he don't know, he don't have a clue what she look like. Now the reason why a woman is covered in other countries is because she saved her beauty for her husband. It's only for him to look upon. But here, everybody, how they get down here in America. They get down here, exposing their parts, gyrating, and you know. So the little babies, they see their mama like this, and they say, well, this is the way they want to be, and the mama encourages this. She dressed them kind of nudie and sexy. And then what we got now? What we got jumping off now? We got whorish behavior. Women don't respect themselves, and the men don't either. Most guys, they don't want a woman painted up with wigs on. That's, because when all that come off, when the eyelashes come off and the makeup come off, they look like another person altogether, especially if they high. And they in a bar in a club and the lights down low, and when you get them in the light and they look something altogether different, makeup gone, wig gone, everything gone. That ain't for real. That's not being real. So this is how the enemy, this is his culture, not yours. When you go back to the Wild West days, cowboys, they had saloons, whole houses in the saloons. The proprietor was a pimp and you know, a gangster. They had gambling, they had hoes, they had, you know, you can't blame that on the black man, black woman, because they were slaves. So they didn't, if the slave master wanted that black woman, even though he was married, supposed to have been a Christian, he would take that woman. They had sex farms where they just had house women and men, and some of them became homosexuals in these farms because white men are freaky like that. They like uh, women, like that too. They didn't have. They might got them over there in Africa now, but back in the day, they didn't have homosexuals. They didn't have saloons, where it's just a bunch of hoes at. See, this is culture this is learned behavior. Our culture was wiped out. So when you hear young brothers like young Pharaoh talking, uh, y'all ones over 30 ain't nothing, because the young people don't want no connection to their roots. You know, a lot of them, don't want to connect to the roots. They don't want to connect to their slavery. And this is where your home remedies come from. This is where midwives come from, because see, like, black people didn't go to the hospital to have babies. They didn't go to the hospital for their medicine. They know what plant to use to cure them. That's where Dr. Sebi was coming from. But we start disconnecting with our elders and our roots, and now we just depend on the Caucasian for everything. So now when you try to enlighten the young people now, you know, they don't want to hear that. They because they got naked women dancing through their head and getting high and all that kind of stuff. Because all this become a culture now. Corruption is a culture of America. And all them books right there talk against that. So in the church and in the cathedrals, they talk uh, one way on a Sunday, but on a Monday, well, damn that, right after that, they act different. They act different. That's why ain't nothing changed. Everybody goes along with war, because your tax dollars go over there for war and over there to Israel. You know that. But you want to blend in with the system. And the more you try to blend in with the system, the more you go along with all the horrendous corruption that they do all over the planet. This is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted to be separate. He didn't want to be a contribution or contributing to corruption. So, he said, well, we can't separate physically, we separate spiritually. So he cleaned them up by having the women dress a certain way and the men dress a certain way. Know when to keep the men and women separate so they could get educated more quickly, won't have sex on their mind all the time. And so now, agents like young Pharaoh, look, let me say this, and we're going to go to the next video on this one. Dr. Umar and young Pharaoh, people like that, I don't know why y'all don't want to think they ain't agents. They agents. And we're going to address it on the next video. Black Light Out.